What's up, everybody? Fantasy Endgame back here to draft with you. It is full PPR mock time as we are almost ready for June. It's a good time to take a look at the landscape, fantasy football, see if anything has changed because you know a whole lot is still going to change from now until draft season. So you want to draft with us? Of course you do. That's why you're here. Get in here with us. We're on Sleeper. It's a 12-team PPR mock. And we're already in. We're going to be duking it out. Decided to both get stuck in the middle. It just makes it more fun that way, don't you think?
Sure, more fun.
Fun. Yeah. All right, guys. Here we go. You want to draft? Let's draft. The link is live.
I mean, we do so many of these drafts from so many different spots.
Yeah. Kind of doesn't matter. I think I'm almost there where I could like draft, blindfolded and just know if you told me what pick I had, like who's going to be there and who I would take. I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite there yet. All right, but it looks like we are. It looks like we're full.
Yep.
Joe Castles, what's up, Joe?
Hey, Joe at the one.
Gonna start us off here.
Take it away.
A man who knows exactly what he wants. No hesitation.
There you go. Why wait? These drafts, especially, it's like a breeze with a 1 minute per pick clock. It's like a stroll in the park, a leisurely pace compared to the 20 seconds of the live underdog drafts that we do. So
I know I'm already like, dude, what's taking so long?
I know. Used to being on the clock as soon as you turn.
Come on, Trust Lock. It's been 30 seconds. What are we doing?
Yeah. You can choose any player in the known universe except Jamar Chase.
Exactly. That's the problem. Too many decisions. Too many choices. Oh, come on.
I do notice the light's not green. That's not a good sign.
It was green.
Let's go!
All right. Now he's green again.
Now it's green.
Now it's green. Now he's on. I mean, he got Barkley. It's not like, okay, whatever. He got Barkley.
He says it's frozen.
All right. Well, he's back. He got Barkley.
Yeah. No complaints getting autoed Saquon.
Exactly.
It's
frozen and going Chase. You can't go Chase because Joe went Chase with the 101. Sorry.
You definitely can't. You can't go Chase again. Literally any player except for Chase.
Saquon Barkley, a pretty nice consolation prize.
Yeah. Let's go crazy here.
Whoa, Sun God.
I haven't gotten him like at all this year.
Well,
I don't think.
I mean, it is a mock.
Yeah.
Technically, you still haven't gotten him.
No. Okay, that's true. I don't think I've even taken him. Why not? I mean, it's between him or Gibbs.
No, didn't even consider Neighbors there.
Yeah, I've got way too much Neighbors.
Again, just a mock though.
Just a mock, I know. But even in the other multiverse or whatever, yeah, still too much. I want to see what it's like. It feels good enough taking Sun God there. The 6 almost feels like aggressive this year to take Sun God that early, you know?
Yeah, Sun God feels like a very safe pick, but he doesn't give you that like, ooh, what could be type of feeling. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, exactly. Not an exciting first round pick anymore, but now it's like maybe that's what we should want in the first round is not exciting at all and just boring and safe.
Boring.
I mean, safe is fine early.
Give me my 18 points and let's move on to next week.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's funny, Taz. I think you jinxed us. Taz said no autos today, and then the second pick of the draft was an auto. So
right, exactly.
Trust is saying he's gotten some issue. The draft button is blank. Well, you can't draft now because it's not your turn, but that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Draft button? What do you mean draft button?
Yeah, like
I don't really have a draft button. Whoops.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We're not in the mobile right now. I mean, I know it when you go to make your pick, the draft button lights up, but you can't do a draft unless it's your turn. So that's
Right.
what it is. Don't worry about it. Oh, got a A-Chan. It's interesting. Not where he's picked. I'm waiting for this question to put it up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There he goes.
All right. So Brandon asking if King Henry's getting discriminated against because of his age.
I mean, absolutely. It's absolutely right. I mean, what other reason is there?
I mean, it's true. But there's really not much you can say against Derrick Henry being a first round pick. It's not exciting a new thing anymore.
I mean, I'll say though, like you're not going to take Henry over Saquon. You're not going to take Henry over Bijan. You're not going to take Henry over Gibbs. Probably not taking him over Genty. CMC is where I think it gets close. T. Higgins, look at you. Who are you? Who even are you right now?
Exactly. Well, I don't know. Even though it's not the same. First of all, it's a mock, so it really doesn't matter. And second of all, it's not an underdog, which we did yesterday. And third of all, it really doesn't matter. It's like I just took AJ Brown like last night. I want to take somebody different today.
But T. Higgins, I mean, you're like, don't tell me, are you in on T. Higgins this year? As a second round draft pick.
I think he's worth like a late second round pick. Yeah.
Interesting. Exactly. Even Keith knows. This is not, I do not think you are the real Pierre today. I think we have a Pierre imposter today.
It's possible. Hey, I'm celebrating. I'm going crazy. I'm in a good mood. It's the last day of school. Summer is here. So
nice. That's the thing. So you're drunk on summer.
Yes. The actual drink is later.
Monroe St. Brown T. Higgins start. This is not Pierre.
I'm gonna let's see who's next. I can take that will shock you even more. Who else am I out on? I'm gonna wait until the last round and take Aaron Rodgers as my starting quarterback. How about that?
Then I would know for sure you're not the real. You're not the real.
then proof that I am simply an AI representation of myself.
Yes. Definitely.
Which nowadays, like, how would you know? You wouldn't.
You wouldn't know. And it looks like trust is working because
okay. Good. Well, you got 30 seconds on this one. Okay. All right, I can put this one up now. We had a tight end taken, the only one who deserves to even be thought about this early. So he says, last year we hated how tight ends started. Yeah, all the crazy early tight ends didn't get off to crazy good starts. And I don't think they really finished that great either. Are you leaning towards late tight end this year? Yes.
I lean towards late tight end every year. Like I think there are certain strategies that just always work, and late tight end is one of them. Sure, somebody's going to come in here and be like, "Oh, well, I drafted, blah blah blah, and he sucked." Okay, yeah, it's late tight end. I'm trying to see if trust. Let me know who you want. I'll set it for you.
Looks like he left. Actually, he just left the draft, so we need somebody to try to fill in.
Unfortunately, I don't think Sleeper lets you fill in after the fact. So I'm just going to give him Bucky Irving top on the board.
All right. That's all right. No problem. Glitches happen.
But yeah, I feel like, late tight end works almost every year.
Yeah, we've had the discussion about Brock Bowers. Again, you're taking him in the second round, not just as the first tight end off the board, but essentially as the second best player on your entire fantasy team. He's got to be that. He not only has to be the tight end one, he has to be like significantly ahead of every other tight end to be worth drafting, which he could be. Like I totally think he could be and should be. But he's also got to be better than all the wide receivers that you didn't take instead of.
Exactly.
Well, it's just risky.
This is not a spot I love. Yeah, I think that's what. It's not. Like, I've done a couple of videos talking about Bowers now. And it's not that I think Bowers is going to be a bust. Like, I don't think Bowers is going to be like this year's Sam Laporta. But you're talking about in the vast majority of fantasy leagues, like probably every league everybody on this stream plays in, you only need one tight end. Whereas you need at least 2 running backs, at least 2 wide receivers, maybe 3 wide receivers like in the draft we're doing here. Probably a flex or 2. So you're foregoing strengthening positions of more importance when it comes to your fantasy football roster to get a guy who yes, may be one of or the best tight end in fantasy this year, but doesn't get, even last year, he scored less than 5 points per game more than Sam Laporta, who was a tight end 8. Like, yes, Brock Bowers last year was great because you drafted him in like round 9. Remember that. You drafted Brock Bowers in round 9 last year, not early round 2. Now, I know here he went late round 2, but he usually goes early round 2. Like, if you had drafted Brock Bowers early round 2, you wouldn't have been like, oh, he killed my team. But you probably also didn't have an advantage over your league. That's the issue. He has to be like Travis Kelce, like, stud level. And I'm not sure, like, how is that going to happen, especially when they've added pass catchers. They actually were going to have a running game this year. I don't know. We'll see. It's just, to me, it's just like late tight end almost always works. Even when you miss on the tight end, should be okay because the rest of your team should be strong.
Exactly. So here, like, this would be the argument you use here. Seahawks fans saying Bowers better than Jason and Evans. Look, if you think Bowers is going to be better than those two, take him. I think that's fine. But we've seen Evans be a dominant receiver, low end wide receiver 1, basically for like a decade. I think I feel pretty safe with him. Jason, I get it. If you like him better than Jason, I'm not going to say that's an obvious pick. The Jason is the chance you're taking with Jason is now he's going to definitely be the number 1 receiver on his team, sure, but also that you're hoping that Sam Darnold is able to connect with him and all that. So that's risky. I understand taking Bowers over him. Terry McLaurin, I think I would definitely take Terry McLaurin over Bowers. Harrison is, again, this, is he going to do what he did last year, or is he going to take a step forward? That's the same argument you can make with Bowers or JSN. So I don't argue. He's in the discussion for the range in which he is being taken. But there are certainly wide receivers I think you should feel better about, like Evans and Terry. JSN may not be one of those.
Yeah, but even if he is better than those guys, let's say he is better than those guys. Like Trey McBride was every bit as good as Brock Bowers last year. But because he wasn't a rookie, he didn't get all the hype. Right. George Kittle was every bit as good as Brock Bowers last year. But again, because he's not a rookie, he didn't get all the hype. If that happens again, where there are other tight ends who are very comparable to Brock Bowers, where he's not giving you a massive edge at the position, because think about it now, when you forego a position where you have to start multiple players at, your number 2, number 3 at that position gets weaker than it needed to be. So if you're not, so you need to have that advantage at tight. When you draft a tight end in the second round, whether it was Gronk back in the day, what people used to do all the time, Gronk first round, Gronk second round, whether it was Travis Kelce, he had to give you a massive edge at the position because you took a hit at the other positions. So if you didn't get the edge at the position, then what did you gain by drafting him other than like having a set and forget tight end, which other people in your league are going to have set and forget tight ends, and now your edge is gone. So that's the issue with drafting a tight end, or even like when you draft early QB, it's the same thing with early QB, right? If you draft like Josh Allen in round 3 and Josh Allen isn't better than, say, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts this year, you gave away your edge. Your edge is gone. Even if Josh Allen is still good.
Right. If there's not a sizable gap. So again, if the difference between the tight end, between let's say Bowers and the tight end, you get 3-4 rounds later, is it really bigger at all? If not much bigger than the receiver you can get 3-4 rounds later than whatever receiver you got. That's the difference. Okay. I think this is Smith. All right. So yeah, that's a thing. And also, and that's why I almost never go early QB. Always there's a I'm not gonna say late rounds, mid to late round QB that breaks out and has a huge season and winds up being an elite quarterback that you could have got later. Now, you're not always going to know who that is, right? It's no guarantee you're going to get that guy. I mean, I'm not saying like it's that easy, but I mean, I just don't think it's necessary to have the top QB. It's almost like people feel like they get an advantage just by having the guy. I have an elite tight end. I have an elite quarterback. You know what I mean? But you have to look at the aggregate and the value you're getting for your whole roster.
Right. And I know it's easy to, and you say cherry picking here, but like going back to the tight end position or even quarterback, like if you had grabbed Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, these guys off of waivers, then the players who drafted, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts in the early rounds no longer had an advantage over you. If you grabbed, Jonnu Smith off of waivers, then all the people who drafted, stud tight ends no longer had the advantage over you. Now I know it's but the difference is, you say, oh yeah, but how many Devon Achans do you find off the waiver wire? How many Drake Londons do you find off the waiver wire? How many Derrick Henrys do you find off the waiver wire? You know what I mean? Like it's much easier to find that breakout tight end or those breakout QBs off the waiver wire than it is, to find a Brian Thomas Jr., a Devon Achane, a Lad McCong, I mean, these guys, Josh Jacobs, like these guys just aren't sitting on waiver wires.
Right. They shouldn't be. All right. Are we good with, by the way, team 2, because he had left. Are we good with those autos? He's got 3 running backs.
I mean, I could swap Mixon for DK. No one wants DK, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody will cry over that. Let's see. Jack Scott asking if we've talked about Rashee. We've not talked about Rashee Rice today. He has not been drafted yet. Has he been drafted? Oh, yeah, he must.
He has been. Yes, he's been drafted.
Clayton got Rashee Rice. All right. Well, I guess you took Xavier Worthy, the other chief. I know you got a lot of Worthy. So I don't know. Rashee Rice, 310. right after Garrett Wilson, before Tyreek Hill. We're seeing that a lot in our drafts, at least. Before DJ Moore, Devonta Smith. What do you think about? Oh, thank you, by the way. There goes the first official snipe. What do you think of Rashee Rice 310?
Yeah, I'm having a tough time with Rashee Rice this year. Just not sure how to value Rice. Coming off a major knee injury, I know the reports are he's going to be ready week 1. I know everybody wants him to play in the slot, but isn't that kind of where Xavier Worthy needs to play? Like, you can't stick Xavier Worthy on the outside. Not to mention, I mean, this isn't the same, this isn't the same Chiefs offense where it's like, fantasy gold for pass catchers anymore. So I don't know. Rashee Rice is like one of these guys I just have a really hard time valuing. So I just end up not taking him because there's other players that I say like, well, this guy should be great, and I just take him instead.
Right. Same with me. Don't have a lot of Rice. Don't plan to necessarily have a lot of Rice because easy, to just point and say, well, look, the last time he played the season before he got hurt, he was by far their number 1 receiver. He was great. But that's because they had nobody else, like literally nobody else at receiver. Xavier Worthy stepped up last year. Hollywood Brown might actually play this year. And Kelsey is still around, even though he's not himself, he still draws targets, right? He still gets plenty of targets. So, and that offense just took a step back in terms of pass volume. And so that's the other thing. It was a different Chiefs team last year, and I think their defense will still be pretty good this year, which means they're not going to have to pass it as much. So I don't see Rashee getting back to, 2023 numbers. I think he's still solid, but, look at guys like DJ Moore, Devonta Smith. I'm taking them before Rice. I think round 4 is fair, but I'd rather stick him at the end of round 4, DK Metcalf. Okay, I'll take Rice instead of him. Jameson Williams, even, it gets tough here. I don't know. I like Jameson Williams. I don't know if I would take Rice before him.
Yeah, I like Jameson Williams too.
Clayton, just so you know, nobody forced you to pull the trigger on Tyreek Hill there. No,
Did you see the Did you see the Tyreek Hill tweet today from Fantasy Points?
Actually, no, I didn't.
So, any doubts? And I mentioned this a while back when we were talking about like the there's a stream we were talking about the Dolphins offense, and I said, I don't know if it was that they went more conservative because they wanted to or because they had to because Tyreek just lost a step. Well, I think I was right. So 2023, 46.9% of his routes were vertical routes. He averaged 0.233 average separation, which was third best. 5.3 yards per route run, which was best by a mile. 34% targets per route run, which was the best. Now you go to 2024. 51.8% of his routes were vertical. So they actually had him running more vertical routes last year than the year before. 0.069 average separation, 33rd. 1.64 yards per route run, 50th. 17% target per route run, 33rd. I mean, I think Tyreek Hill is cooked.
It's possible. I mean, we're a guy who relies on just pure speed. Not that he doesn't have other parts of his game, but really that's it, right? This is the breakaway speed. If you lose even half a step, you lose your advantage, right? And it's not like that's the only thing. There's also the whole wrist surgery thing, and the every other week saying he doesn't want to be there anymore, and then changing his mind, and then the whole every other week there's like a domestic violence charge. It's kind of a lot, It's pretty easy to just say, you know what, maybe I don't want to have to worry about this. All right. Yeah, let me see. Have I gone 0 RB enough? Or do I want to more.
I mean, this draft, there's still this is not a very heavy wide receiver heavy draft.
I see 2 receivers I like, and then I see some running backs that probably will fall to me on the way back. So sure. Well, you know what? If Tyreek Hill is dust, then here enter Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Yep. Why not? Reminder from where is it? Juice. Don't forget about Taysom.
Pretty sure I'm gonna have 0 Taysom this year. I mean, you say Michael Thomas doesn't have a team, but does Taysom have a team?
Taysom Hill? Didn't he sign like a lifetime contract with the Saints?
I mean, is he still under?
I don't know. I
thought. No, I thought. Oh, it runs through the 2025 season. I thought it expired. But I mean, dude, the guy. There's no way he's gonna retire, isn't he? He can't play this year. He's gonna get paid to not play this year because that knee injury. He's not coming back.
Yeah. Either way, Sean Payton will somehow make sure he gets paid. Hey,
Right.
You know what? That's the plan. After this year, bring him on to Denver. Can be his Joker, his old new Joker.
Oh,
Why even use that term? Just call it what it is. Just Taysom. Just call him
right. The Taysom.
the Mormon missile. Okay. Joe on the clock for 2. Let's I mean, let's combine these arguments together. Rasheed Rice or Brock Bowers?
Oh no, I'm taking Rice over Bowers. Taking Rice over Bowers. Definitely.
I mean, in reality, there's probably little chance that Brock Bowers falls far enough to the point where I would be able to take him and have to decide between these two. I mean, Rice is. I'm seeing him going in the 3rd round, but I don't think he's usually close. Bowers usually never goes into round 3 even. So I don't think this decision is one you'll have to make. But if it comes to that point where, okay, Rice is kind of next up on the list and Bowers is still there, I would probably pull the trigger on Bowers at that point because that means you're getting him ahead of value. Tyler Warren. Joe got his guy. Now there was
but here
some buzz today about the Colts. Colts quarterbacks. Daniel Jones completed.
Don't even.
I'm serious. Hold on. Daniel Jones completed like 10 of 12 passes today in practice.
Okay, that right there. If you threw 2 incompletions that weren't complete drops in 7-on-7 with no contact, with no pass rush, you better go 12 for 12 in that drill. 12 for 12. Like what you're playing in shorts. That's supposed to make me feel good about it, Daniel Jones.
The fact that I even had to say Daniel Jones is yeah. Oh man. Look, but Warren got good reviews. They said that he just looks kind of like a dynamic playmaker, and what was the quote? He moves different from tight ends.
I mean, I don't doubt that Tyler Warren is a good player and is going to be a good player. He's just stuck on the Colts for this year. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, there's no way this appeared. Now he's dropping Daniel Jones praise.
I couldn't even. I tried to say it without laughing. It's too hard. Oh, Daniel Jones. Look. If you're gonna do, because think about this, the top tight end that you got late. Last couple of years has been a rookie, right? Brock Bowers last year went late enough, and the year before Sam Laporta. So it's like, look, you should be able to get Tyler Warren toward the end of your draft, right? He's typically not going this early. So Joe, I don't hate the pick, but you probably could get him much later because people are taking those other tight ends like Johnny Smith and the guys who put up numbers last year. So if you want to wait and make Tyler Warren your starting tight end because you got him late, I think that's totally a viable strategy because you didn't burn an early pick on a tight end, But I don't think he has to go this soon.
No.
Let's go, team! Let's go!
Uh-oh, got another
auto.
So I did prefer either Caleb Johnson or Aaron Jones, maybe Judkins, but oh well. That's what happens when you go 0 RB. Steve, everyone avoiding Judkins. I don't think he's being avoided. I mean, do you feel like he should be going higher?
No, I don't. Because first of all, it's going to be a terrible Cleveland Browns offense, which always makes it tough for running backs. Second of all, I think Dylan Sampson is good enough to push him for touches. So, yeah, I don't think he's going. I don't think people I think where he's going is fair. I feel kind of similar about Caleb. Like, these guys will be fine.
Worth a shot. Worth a shot because he could wind up being a stud. Same thing with Trayvon Henderson. Same thing with Caleb Johnson. None of these guys are sure things. I'll say even Amari and Hampton. Everyone's just convinced he's a stud. Look, maybe he is, but I'm not convinced in fantasy he's going to be. I'm not convinced he's just going to be the guy for the Chargers. Najee Harris is still going to get plenty of touches. They're going to use both of them. And early in the season, it's definitely going to be Najee. This is just how it goes. So maybe Hampton pulls away. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I think he's being valued reasonably. All right, Royland's in the house. What's up, Royland? Give you your shine. Give you a chance to talk up the Chiefs. Being a Kansas City fan, worked on a Pat Mahomes commercial. How'd you do that?
Yeah, how'd you do that? What was the commercial for? I mean, how locked in can a guy be if he's filming commercials?
Yeah, locked in on what? Oh,
locked in would be like, hey, we asked him to do a commercial and he said, sorry, I'm training.
Exactly.
I'm training 10 hours a day, every day of the week. I don't have time for commercials. That would be locked in.
But then that would also mean there's an imposter because Pat Mahomes is doing commercials for the past 5 years. I don't doubt Mahomes' dedication or commitment or any of that.
Right, I know.
That's never been an issue. Travis Kelce. I don't know. Okay. See, I knew I shouldn't have done. I was talking to Najee again and I was hoping I would get him. There he goes. Well, you know what? Good point, of course, Keith. Making the good point here. I didn't know that they were projected to lose every game. Now, of course, they're not going to do that, just like the Buffalo Bills are definitely not going to win every game. But yeah, I think the uncertainty at quarterback can't really make you feel great about the offense in general. But at the same time, you're like, okay, well, they don't have a guy they're going to lean on at quarterback. Maybe they're going to want to run the ball quite a bit because their defense isn't bad. That defense has not been really the problem. It's not great, but it was solid enough last year, especially considering the quarterback situation. So I don't think I'm going to avoid a Cleveland running game just because of that.
I mean, yeah, I'm not worried about like Judkins, like somebody. Like, I do think Sampson will get more touches than people want, and Jerome Ford will get his receiving work. That's the other thing. Judkins is not going to give you anything in the receiving game. So, if they're losing, which they probably are going to be losing a lot, yeah, it's a tough path for him. Man, I'm not completely out on Judkins, but it's a tough path.
Well, yeah, you just said it. What probably my concern, if there is one of Judkins, is unproven, mostly as a pass catcher. But again, not because he's not capable, he just wasn't asked to do that. I mean, obviously, he had a lot of tough competition in college. You know, he was not a do it all back because how could he be at Ohio State? But yeah, it just might take him some time to acclimate to that role, or for them to want to use him in that role. But then the fact they took Dylan Sampson right after that, who is a really good receiver, makes you think, yeah, that might not be his role this year. That's, to me, probably a little bit more of an issue. It's just Sampson's presence.
Yeah, and then if they're trailing, if it's second half and they're down 2 or 3 scores, they're not running the football anymore.
Right. So it's not a 1-to-1. I don't think they're going to necessarily wind up comparable in terms of fantasy points by a season's end. But again, you're like, okay, do I take Judkins round 6, 7, whatever, or do I wait till the end of my draft and take Sampson, where it's not that big a difference? That's why an underdog. I know I'm taking a lot of Sampson. I know you are too.
Yeah.
J Money. Let me see it. What is your question, Jay? Oh, I see it. Sorry, Jay, missed this one. This is a good question. Thoughts of taking Kittle, McBride at the 3-4 turn. Taking all the good tight ends and filling a flex. So if you did take one of those early, would you flex an elite tight end? Is the question. I'm guessing it's no.
No. I mean, again, even last year, like, for as good as those guys were, like, you just have more potential upside there.
Let me I want to make sure we can put some numbers on this, because I feel like it's true, but I want to make sure it's true. Okay, hold on. Let's make these picks first. All right, so hold up, Jay. We're gonna get to this in 1 second. I'm gonna try to prove it with statistics, not just go on anti-tight end rants again. Man, this is what happens when you go 0 RB, huh? All right. So, all right, Kittle last year, and let's do points per game, not total points, because missed a couple games, because that's what George Kittle does. But let's just say last year, I'm showing in PPR George Kittle 15.8.
Yes. Kittle, right. I can tell you right now, because I've done the research, Kittle, McBride, and Bowers, 15.8, 15.7 or 6, and 15.5.
That's exactly. They were tied. Yeah, identical. Now, okay, Bowers, he was a rookie. They got a better quarterback. Yeah, okay, yes, fine. Bowers should be better. But let's just talk. Those are like your tight ends you're talking about. Receivers, that would be, let's say, in that same range that you could get, that might have done better. Let's see. Got Devontae Smith, who usually goes after McBride. He averaged the exact same amount of points. Okay, well, I'm going to ignore Stephon Diggs. Jason, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson. Those guys are all pretty comparable. You know what? Point-wise, yeah, maybe it's not a big difference. But then you're going to have to fill in your number 2 receiver, your number 3 receiver, in rounds 5 and round 6, right, later on. So then it's like the difference between the receiver you could have got there versus the receiver you're going to have to end up with. That's where the issue comes in.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's a little different here because you're using one as your flex. But again, the problem is you have to be your tight ends have to hit, because if one of those tight ends doesn't hit, because you basically said, like, okay, instead of having like, running backs or wide receiver as my flex, I'm going to have a tight end as my flex. If that tight end doesn't hit, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure there's people that have like done that. Yeah. Done the research and are like, no, it does. Like bully tight end was a strategy. People were actually, it was called bully tight end. I'm pretty sure it was disproven as like, doesn't work.
Yeah.
And again, go back to last year. You would have said like, well, what if I take, Sam Laporta and Trey McBride? Okay, one of those guys would have been good, but the other one you wouldn't have been flexing for most of the year.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. You're on the clock, by the way. I don't know if you...
I'm on the clock here. Let's go. What we got? I have a lot of rookies in this draft, I feel like.
That's funny. All right, so Royland giving us the background here. He's in the film industry. He says it was a T-Mobile ad. Pat Mahomes gets all of his commercials all in now before training camp. So look, maybe he's locked in.
I'm sure he's locked in. I'm not. Okay, we can't have him.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome, Royland.
That is awesome.
Tell him if you see him again, tell him to look Hollywood's way a lot more this year.
Yeah, tell him we need a lot of Hollywood targets.
A lot of Hollywood. Forget Rice. Clayton with the intel here. Actually, I do remember that. They're potentially going to ask Kittle to block less and, help them out, the run game, the screen game, by getting a tight end who will block and not just run routes, and have Kittle do that. Well, I don't think this necessarily affects Kittle's target rate. Might help the run game, might help the offense overall, might keep him fresh. Actually, that's what it should do, is keep him healthier.
Yeah, and again, you can going back to Bowers and even a little bit to McBride. You can get George Kittle 3 rounds later than Bowers. And he was technically better than Bowers last year. I think everybody just assumes because Bowers was like a rookie. Everybody just assumes that he was like the number 1 tight end in fantasy, but he wasn't. At least not on a points per game basis.
Right.
Who do we like here? Don't really like anybody. This is a very...
All right, Spears it is. All right. Oh, thank you for directing this towards me. Best kicker to draft is no kicker, because you're in a league that doesn't use kickers.
Oh, he already has a QB. Yeah, exactly. Your league should not have kickers.
Ooh, Luis with a good question here. All right, Luis Perez, each year now with these veteran running backs not breaking down and getting injured as much, is handcuffing still a thing? Do you worry about it, or you just wait and play the waiver wire?
No, I still think handcuffing is a thing because it's still an advantage. I mean, if you had Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, I guess Chase Brown, people were kind of drafting him, but like you don't want to be having to fight on the waiver wire if you can just have them.
Yeah, if you have a running back legitimately worth handcuffing, meaning his loss will be felt significantly on your team, but also that actually has someone you can identify as a handcuff, because some of these teams don't.
Right.
I mean, look, if Ashton Gianti goes down, who are you handcuffing him with?
No one.
Like, no.
You're just staying away.
Yeah, and sorry, I don't think Justice Hill counts for Derrick Henry. It just doesn't count as a handcuff. So if it's worth it, yeah, you can. Is it as prominent as it used to be? No, because it's it's just not. As last year, it didn't seem like it was necessary. Doesn't mean it won't be this year.
Exactly. Just because running backs stayed mostly healthy last year doesn't mean they're going to stay mostly healthy this year. But yeah, you want the handcuffs where like, well, there's a few things I look for in handcuffs. Number one, like you said, if the starting running back goes down, I feel very, very confident that this guy is going to be next man up. It doesn't mean he's going to get 100% of the snaps in every touch, but he's going to be the clear running back one in his offense. Number two, is it an offense that's going to be any good, right? Like if I don't know, what's a terrible offense?
The first that comes to mind is the Giants.
Okay, I guess they have value, so maybe that's not a thing. But I guess it's a combination of like the offense and the running back. Like, let's say if DeAndre Swift goes down, I don't want any of the Bears running backs. Who's any good? Rashawn Johnson's no good. Kyle Monangai is like a slow 7th round pick. Like, I don't want these guys. Like, I don't care. I don't want these guys.
Right.
And then number 3 is, and this is kind of like the cherry on top. Do they actually give me some standalone value? Like a Tyjae Spears, let's say. Like a guy who can, potentially get 7 or 8 carries and 4 or 5 catches, even when Tony Pollard is healthy. So, like, if I have to, if it's week 7 and it's crazy bye weeks and injuries, I can put him in my lineup and know I'm going to get something. Like, he's not a guy who's only going to see the field. Like, not like Will Shipley, right? Like, yeah, Will Shipley is the direct handcuff to Saquon Barkley, but he's only touching the ball when Saquon Barkley needs a rest. Like, he's not getting you any fantasy points.
Exactly. There you go. So, like here, because I waited on running back, I think you could call Rico Dowdle a handcuff. It's still probably going to be all Chuba early on, I would think.
Yeah, see but I'm higher on Trevor Etienne than most, so.
Oh, so you're thinking Rico's going to be out of the picture.
No, I'm not saying that, but I think it could be more of a
committee.
I think it's going to be more of a committee than people think.
Interesting. Now, talking about like Isaac Guerrero, I think a good example. He's one that obviously if you have CMC, you want his backup. And we've seen San Francisco running backs not named CMC have huge value. But are we 100% sure that Guerrero is going to hold up? And could there be some other random 49er running back like Jordan James or someone else that comes through? Absolutely. So sometimes it's not clear, even though it's pretty clear that Guerrero should be the handcuff. It doesn't mean he's going to wind up being the guy that has the value, because he got hurt plenty last year in his chances.
Yeah, but I still think if something happens to CMC this year, he's going to get first crack.
Yeah. No, I'm taking a fair amount of Guerrero in best ball.
Do we have how many auto drafting teams do we have now? Oh my god.
What happened to team 3?
I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, I mean, it's the last round, whatever.
Let me give these teams some. All right. Caleb or Kyler? Kyler or Caleb? No, I can't quit Kyler Murray.
No reason to. You got Harrison, so you might as well.
It's true. I didn't even think about that.
All right. Well, made it through another one. Timmy Tam asking Travion or Caleb Johnson?
I would go Travion Henderson.
Yeah, and I'm a big Caleb Johnson fan. I'm just not as big a fan of the Steelers offense, depending on who the quarterback is, and Arthur Smith's still there. So that's my only concern. I'm going to give the edge to Travion.
Yeah, and Travion, way more pass catching upside as well, and big play, explosive ability. Give me Travion.
And then a question about Xavier Leggett.
I think people are sleeping on Xavier Leggett. I think people are sleeping on him. I really do. I think Bryce Young looked good last year, and you look at Leggett, it was like 2 halves of the season. The first half of the season, if you remember, which I almost had forgotten, they had Deontay Johnson to start the year. And Xavier Leggett was playing a lot of his snaps in the slot, and he was having a nice start to his rookie year. And then they traded Deontay Johnson, and they moved Xavier Leggett to the outside, and he was terrible. Well, Ted McMillan is 100%. People is 100% going to play on the outside, meaning Xavier Leggett will get to move into the slot again. I think it's going to be good for Leggett. Think he can be like, not going to say as good as Rashee Rice, but the same kind of player, that big slot wide receiver. And Bryce Young showed something last year. So,
yeah, looked not quite worth the number 1 pick, but at least worth a first-round pick, maybe. I think he could take another step forward, and think about the lack of weapons he had basically all last year. So, yeah, I'm taking some Panthers here and there when I can. All right, let's see who we did take, though. This draft is over. We'll start with Joe at the 1, went with Chase, followed up with Mike Evans, Walker, Connor, Sutton, Pacheco, got Warren at tight end, Pittman, Nix, Besh, Giddens, Tillman, and Jalen Royals. Got several rookies here.
This is one of these drafts where you feel like, or at least I feel like, took a lot of guys earlier than he probably needed to. But at the same time, he took a lot of good players. So it's like you look at the team, you're like Chase, Evans, Sutton at wide receiver, Walker, Connor at running back, Pacheco, Pittman, Besh, Tillman, Royals as your flexes, Warren and Nix. Like overall, it's a good team. Like I do feel like you probably could have waited on Warren. You probably could have waited a little bit on Pacheco, even like James Conner, maybe. But overall, a lot of guys I like on this team.
Agree. A lot of good players. Yeah, just the Warren pick was early. We already talked about that. Team 2, worth discussing or just pass?
Nah, we can skip team 2.
Now, team 3 was drafting until the very end. I guess let's talk about this. Jefferson, Bowers, Chase Brown, T-Mac, Odunze, Judkins, Mayfield, Burden, Shaheed, J.K., Hopkins, and QJ.
Yeah, I think the last 3 picks I set for him. But, I mean, up to that point, I love this draft. Jefferson, Jameson, is it T-Mac? Is that what we're calling him now? T-Mac. Odunze, I mean, that's good, a wide receiver. Chase Brown, I think, is fine as an anchor RB. I mean, Judkins, Dobbins is a little risky at RB2 because, again, Dobbins doesn't even have a team yet. But you got Bowers, you got Baker. So, yeah, well done.
Not bad considering went tight end early, but overall pretty good. Taz, Bijan, and then AJB, Terry, Hertz, Monty, Judy, Aaron Jones, Mooney, Javonte Williams, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, Jalen Noel, and then Goddard to pair up with Hertz.
I love the start up to Hertz. Again, I get Monty's fine. Monty's fine. I'm not like out on Monty. But I feel like you could have waited. I feel like I would have liked one more really high upside wide receiver. Because like Judy as your wide receiver 3, it's okay. But you got Aaron Jones at flex. I guess your flex is still okay. Mooney, not really drafting Javonte. I like the end of the draft though. It's just kind of like that middle area from like that Monty pick. If you could have gotten like Flowers, a Pickens, a Godwin, a Ridley, even a Hunter, even an Addison, I mean, really all these wide receivers. And then, maybe gone like Aaron Jones, and then maybe a different running back over Mooney, or even with Aaron Jones. I don't know. It's good. It's just that those two little picks, kind of nitpicking there, I guess.
Yeah, nitpicking for sure. Like Monty's fine, solid. I think Harvey, Hubbard even have a little bit more upside. But seeing as you got Aaron Jones 2 rounds later, you're like, oh, well, you could have just stuck with Aaron Jones as your RB2 and gotten a better receiver there. But overall, I think this is pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if this is solid. Chris. You took CeeDee Lamb, JT, Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, RJ Harvey right in front of me. Ricky Pearsall, Caleb Johnson, also right before my turn. Matthew Golden, Jonnu Smith, Sharps, Tootin, Liggett, and Kyler. All right, we know you like Liggett. You got Kyler to go with. I mean, yeah, Kyler Murray last round. That's really good. Only in in-game drafts, right?
Right.
You've got really good upside receivers. You've got a really solid core. Now, obviously, your running back group is really young. I noticed now, because you've done this in Underdog, which is a different thing, but it seems to be almost like a pattern for you. You're going like a veteran running like an anchor, and then you're going very young when you're going wide receiver early. Is this like a conscious thing, or is it just like that's the way it's turning out?
No, it's not a conscious thing. I think it's just the way it's turning out. Yeah, I can't say this is one of my favorite teams. It's fine. I don't necessarily love my wide receivers after Lamb, of course. I like my wide receivers. I can't say I love them. I like Pearsall a lot. I like Golden a lot, but I also understand the risk. Same with Worthy, Harrison, Liggett. Running back very young. Yeah, this is definitely this is one of those teams that could definitely look better on paper than it actually performs.
Well, you went for upside. That's what you did. Like the whole middle of your draft is like, let's see. I mean, if these guys pan out, Harvey, Pearsall, even though he's not a rookie, still basically unproven. Caleb Johnson, Matthew Golden. So definitely got upside, and even late with Liggett. All right. I win 0 RB. So here we go. Sun God, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, got Burrow, got Njoku, and then my running backs are DeAndre Swift, Tyron Tracy, Tank Bigsby, Tyjae Spears, Rico Dowdle, and Jerome Ford.
I mean, but honestly, these running backs aren't bad for waiting that long. I mean, Swift, Tracy, Bigsby, Spears gives you enough there. Obviously, your wide receivers are great. You got Burrow, you got Njoku, so I think 0 running back is still alive and well in 2025.
I'm happy enough knowing Swift, for whatever reason, still seems like he's going to be workhorse in Chicago and a much better offense. So I like that as my RB1 for 0 RB draft. And we'll see if Tracy holds on to that job. We'll see if Bigsby holds on to that job. And we'll see. Yeah, overall, I've been especially for being stuck in the middle as far as the 6th draft pick. I'm actually fairly happy with it. All right, and then we have Webster, went with Puka, Jacobs, Josh Allen, Amari Hampton, Chuba Hubbard, Lavi Hawkinson.
Another one I auto-drafted like the entire second.
All right. I mean,
I auto-drafted like the entire second half of his team.
What do you think about the first 2 picks?
Puka feels early. I like Jacobs, but also feels early. Allen fine, Hampton, Chuba, and whatever.
All right. What about Twisted Bliss? Went with Gibbs, McConkey, Kyron, Cook, and then Flowers, Addison, Reed, Myers, Rashad White, Hollywood, Herbert, and Kincaid with Eckler at the end. So this was a fairly robust RB draft.
Yeah, this is like anchor wide receiver.
Kind of.
But you got to feel good about the running backs. I mean, James Cook is going to be your flex. And he's still got good wide receivers. I mean, like this is what I was saying. This was a very strange endgame draft in that did not see a lot of wide receivers early. I mean, to be able to wait till round 5 and still get Zay Flowers, Jaden Addison, Jaden Reed. Sorry, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed. I just mixed them up. And Jacoby Myers. Like, that's pretty good. And you got 3 stud running backs. And you still got Justin Herbert for whatever that's worth and Dalton Kincaid. So, yeah, hey, not how I typically draft, but it worked out really well.
And odd considering this is a full PPR draft. Sometimes if we go half, we never do non-PPR, but if we go into half PPR, we might see running backs go a little earlier, but I don't know. All right, Ale went with Malik Neighbors. Love that pick. Derrick Henry, like it too. Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Kamara, Jennings, Pollard, Laporta, Jaden Higgins, Jordan Mason, Brock Purdy, Ray Davis, and Josh Palmer. I'll just say overall, just looking at the way this team started, this is probably my favorite so far.
Yeah, Ale. Ale's a good drafter, and Ale's one of these guys who he just takes the value as it falls to him, which I love. And man, I was really kind of thinking, but I was like, man, Sam Laporta might fall to me in the 8th round, but instead Ale took him, of course. Which, I mean, this guy went from the tight end 1 to like the 8th round now. I think that's a little too much, but yeah, Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, just stacking value. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara as your RB2 is fine. Jennings is like basically your flex with Pollard also as a flex. Yeah, great team. Great team.
Yeah, that's a great team. Clayton took his guys, Jonty London, Rasheed Rice, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I think he's officially your guy now. Travion Henderson, Joe Mixon, pretty good value. Ayuk, Downs, Ramondre, Ingram, Benson, Dak, and Jalen Coker.
Yeah, I think we have to officially say you're a Tyreek Hill truther now. This is 2 drafts in a row you've taken Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
But I mean, he's your wide receiver 3. Now, if he's as bad as he was last year, it's still not going to be worth anything. But maybe he's not dust. Maybe he finds that extra gear again. But this is still a good draft. I mean, London, Rice, Genty is a great start. Henderson, Mixon. You still have Ayuk and Downs. Stevenson. I like Ingram late. I like Dak late. Dak's got that upside. Benson. Yeah, another strong team there.
Agree. Very strong overall. And then we have MC Fizz Biz at the 11th. Nico, H.N. Hall, JD. Pickens, Hunter, Samuel, Debo, that is. B-Rob, Egbuka, Mark Andrews, Garendo, and Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, again, for a team that went H.N. Hall early and JD, so 2 running backs and a QB early, to still have Nico, Pickens, Hunter, Debo for whatever that's worth. I mean, Debo is your flex. It's not bad. You got Brian Robinson. Got Andrews. You got Bateman. I think Bateman can be a flex. Garendo. Yeah, it's weird. Like in these drafts, I always feel like these teams at the end have the better teams.
Yeah, I'll say generally this feels like a lot more risky. This is kind of like a better and best ball team for me, guys like Pickens and Debo. But yeah, I like all the players. I like the makeup of this roster. The only pick I don't like is Egbuka. I just don't see a path, especially early. I don't think he needs to be drafted. You're going to take a shot on a rookie, go Besh or even Trey Harris. But overall, this is a pretty good team too. And then NMB went CMC, BTJ, McBride, Lamar, Godwin, Ridley, Diggs, Najee, Skedaboo, Jaden Blue, Thielen. Wow, we have an Adam Thielen sighting. And then Dylan Sampson and Tucker Kraft is the tight end.
Well, he's got McBride. I don't know why he needed Tucker Kraft, but whatever. But I love this start. I mean, anchor with CMC, BTJ, Godwin, Ridley, Diggs. I mean, Diggs is your flex, should be fine. Lamar and McBride, so elite QB and elite tight end. Then you got Harris, Scattaboo, Blue. Sampson is your RB2. Yeah. Well done there. Did I see something, by the way, about Diggs? Like the NFL is investigating them for whatever happened on the boat or something?
Yeah, they got reasons. Now, when anything actually happened, probably not. But yeah, it's funny. If you haven't seen the clip, it's funny. It's worth it.
What are they investigating them for?
The substance that he was offering to the ladies in his in the vicinity.
Was it a white powdery substance?
No, that's the funny thing, that it was pink. It was like a pink version of it.
Okay.
So it's like party mode. Did look for an anchor team. Hero RB here with CMC. Still got a pretty, I know, more floor than ceiling, but a pretty reliable RB with Najee Harris. So I still think has value, and you got some upside with the rookies. So I think that's overall very well done. Don't love going tight end and QB early. We've talked about that ad nauseum, but you actually came away with a pretty good team here.
Yes.
I don't know, Matt. You're gonna have to look it up. Look it up. All right. So, yes, wide receiver 1 energy. That's what everybody got from that, basically. Wide receiver 1 energy. But we don't want wide receiver 1 like Antonio Brown after his prime energy. That's what I'm worried. That's the energy we're getting.
Yeah, wide receiver 1 coming off a major knee injury probably should be the only drugs he should be taking are the ones that help his knee recover.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what he's taking. I don't think he can even feel his knee anymore. You don't have to worry about it.
It could be good or bad. I mean, all of a sudden it's like
you don't even know what city he's playing for. It doesn't matter, right? He's just like, where am I? All right. So there we go. When are they? Roland's asking the schedule. Well, we don't have a hard fast schedule, but we almost always do on Thursday nights. We're doing the sleeper mocks. You want to get into these, which you do. So Thursday nights, check for that. But of course, turn notifications on so that you know as soon as we go live. We're also doing the underdog best ball drafts, all the different types. You guys should know about this, but get in there. Anybody here who's watching for the first time, or maybe you've watched or you watch these, but you don't know about underdog, I had it scrolling down there the whole time. Maybe you didn't notice, but if you sign up for the very first time on Underdog, if you try it out and see what it's about, I highly recommend Best Ball. It's a great way to draft, and you can draft now with 20-second clocks. You can get a draft in like less than a half hour, and have a chance to win some money. Get an Underdog account, sign up, and use code NGAME at checkout because you get bonus cash and free picks, and you can use those picks on anything. You don't have to wait for the NFL season. Use it on NBA finals, use it on baseball, use it on esports, golf, whatever you want. So check it out if you haven't already. All right. Well, had fun. We'll do it again. See you guys in the next one.